Hey guys, it's Tuesday, last week of the year. I love this time of year. Get out your to-do lists. If there ever was a time to make lists, this is the time of year. So I hope you're making your list of highlights and lows of the last year and also what your goals are for the next year. Today's Power Minute is called God's Favor. Our verse is Numbers 6:24 through 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. We like to talk about God's favor a lot in the church. When things go well for us, we point to God's favor. For singles, marriage seems like God's favor. For professionals, promotion feels like God's favor. For the financially struggling, a raise feels like God's favor. For the parent of a toddler, a day without bedwetting feels like God's favor. But I wonder if we're confused about God's favor. I wonder if it's time to redefine his favor. See, God's favor on Jesus led him to the cross. God's favor on Paul led him to the prison. God's favor on Peter resulted in his crucifixion upside down, and God's favor on the beloved disciple John allowed him to spend years in exile alone. God's favor is not defined by our version of the American dream. God's favor is far better than a big house and a fat retirement account and a hot husband. God's favor is our peace no matter what we're going through today. God's favor is his promises no matter what we're facing. God's favor is Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. The people of Israel prayed this prayer of God's favor on one another. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. I pray it over you today. Think about this question. How would you define God's favor in your life? Where in your life have you felt like God has not given you his favor? Can you see it from a different perspective today? This concept of God's favor just obsesses me. I feel like so much of our wrestling in the Christian life and our disappointment is because we've ill-defined God's favor. For 2022, would you just do that? Would you just set the record right? Think about this last year. Where has God's favor been shown in your life? Maybe it's not in the ways that you expected. And in 2022, how do you hope to see God's favor? Would you do that today? We'll see each other again tomorrow. This is always an odd week of the year where everybody's finishing up Christmas and jumping into the new year. So let's really use this week to focus on the next year. In the meantime, try to stay off social media. It sucks the life out of us and keeps us from thinking clearly. And then we'll catch back up in 2022. We've got a few more days here in the year. Let's finish strong and be bold in everything we do. All right? See you again tomorrow.